This is Asa, just reporting on my recent replacement of my PRIUS headlight driver's side bulb. Thank you. I was going to take it to the dealer, or I don't know what I was going to do, and then I started watching YouTube videos about how some mechanic does it in 5 minutes and doesn't waste all the time that taking out the whole assembly takes. So, I don't know, I watched a couple of videos and they were helpful, but in the end, they did not contain all the wisdom I needed, and so I'm just here to remind my future self what I will need to remember next time I need to do this, because in my experience, this is not the last time I'll have to do this. First warning, this advice will not go for the passenger side, because I don't even know. Accessing that is a totally different thing. I don't remember if it's easier for some reason, but when I looked at it briefly, it seemed much more inaccessible than the driver's side. So, watch some YouTube videos about that first before you start thinking you could do it yourself. First thing I did wrong, I ordered LED bulbs that matched on spec, but turn out don't fit physically because they have something like a ballast or I don't know, some sort of section at the bottom end or the back end that does not fit with the retention clip that holds in the halogen bulb. I guess I should mention PRIUS's Generation 2 have two different potential types of bulbs, either halogen or HID. I have halogen, so I should just buy halogen. I bought the Philips 9003. It is a dual filament bulb. Contains both the high beam and the low beam. Yeah, which reminds me, my current bulb was still working for high beam but not for low beam. And for a while I was like, oh, I can just fix that somehow. No, because one of the filaments is gone. So just get a new bulb. Okay. So then you pop the trunk and you reach back around to the thing. So what I had forgotten from, 10 years ago, last time I tried to replace this myself, was there's a plug it's a 3-pronged plug. And in fact, the bulb itself has 3 prongs coming out of it. So the first thing you do is you pull off that plug on a wire that the bulb plugs into. That pulls straight back and out. That might be a little stuck, but it shouldn't be too bad. Just pull. The next thing is the boot, the big rubber circle. The rubber circle is held in by 5 little extensions of the radius into the disc that it's being held in onto. So as you turn it, if I'm holding it here, if I turn it counterclockwise, it will open. And when I have to put it back in again, when I install the new bulb, I will have to turn it clockwise. That's no big deal. There's only a couple things that are challenging about it. Number one is that it tends to be really stuck. And so no matter how hard I was able to push with my hand, I could not get it to turn. I had to get both hands in there, very awkward, and put one hand on each of the 2 little, there's these 2 handles on the boot, and try to push one way and push one the other way as hard as I could. Then I could get it to turn. So then it turned. And then I was like, great. Pulled that right out. So then all that was left was the bulb. Or so I thought. I've spent forever trying to get this bulb out and it wouldn't come out. I didn't realize there was a retention clip still on it. That's no big deal once you know what to do. On the passenger side of this bulb, I guess at the top corner of the bulb, the bulb seating, there's a little loop in the wire retention clip, and you press in and up on that, and then it releases and pulls back out. Like it rotates back out this way. That frees the path for the bulb to come out. And in fact, the bulb doesn't need to twist out or do anything at that point. It should literally just come right out with no resistance at all. It's not attached to anything. Okay, so getting it out, not too bad once I knew what I was doing. That's the real trick. Putting it back in, I got the bulb from eBay, took it out, said, okay, it's still, it orients the same way with the third prong on top, two other prongs on the two sides. Put it in there, it sits fine. I put the retention clip on. Great. So then the only trick from there is, how do you get this boot back on, and then how do you get this plug thing to plug back in, right? The plug from the wire. The boot is annoying, so there's two parts that are annoying about it. One is how much pressure you have to put on, pressure perpendicular to the disc in order to get it to turn at all. And number two is lining it up to know, okay, which of those 5 extensions of the circumference need to line up with which slot. I can't see it at all. I have to sort of just guess or infer. And you can actually get a little bit of a look down inside to see where one of those slots is. And actually one of the 5 slots is longer than the other 4, and you can use that to spot which one of yours on your shoe needs to go there. Try to line it up that way. And again, turning clockwise to lock it in. Okay, so then now you have the shoe is on, the boot is on, the 3 prongs from the plug, from the bulb, are ostensibly coming out through the little hole in the boot, and then you just have to take this plug on a wire and plug that into there. Of course, this is wrapping around it so tightly that you really don't even have the rectangle you need. You have a circle here of pretty resilient rubber, and you have to somehow jam this plug in there, feel that it's lined up, and get the rest of the boot out of the way and plug it on. That ended up being so difficult that I eventually took the boot off, put the wire with the socket through the boot, thinking that maybe you're supposed to do that first and then put the boot in, but then I couldn't line anything up, and that was clearly wrong. So then I went back and tried it the first way, and eventually I succeeded. So put the bulb in, retention clip, boot, twist with 2 hands, and then fiddle around with this socket on the wire.